Hi.
Hi guys, and welcome back to our channel Sharang and Sharvari. It's been like about a few days since we posted our last video, and do let us know if you think our content might be getting a bit repetitive or you want us to make any changes, because of course we will definitely incorporate those changes. But today is a very, I would say psychological topic, or it's kind of falling in the well-being area, if I were to say. But before we start, I see our subscribers going up in every video we post. So thanks a lot for the love you have been giving to our channel. We really, really appreciate it. And I think today's topic is how to, or the joys of slow living. So what do you think, Sharam? What is slow living?
Well, I think that this is like what does a culture promote? So I think this current culture promotes materialism, consumerism,
Hmm.
and this hustle or grind mindset that you need to get
Exactly.
up at 5 and just grind at your job and grind at starting an alternate business because the ultimate goal is just to amass wealth. And no one says what is the ultimate value, but like they're all chasing that. And I
Yeah.
think in that sometimes or many times most of us feel like rats stuck on a wheel that just never ends, and we're just burnt out, we're exhausted, and that seems to be the reality of corporate India. So I think slow living is, I think it seems to me, a throwback to when and how people actually lived in the eras bygone,
Hmm.
where there was no social internet constantly clamoring for your attention, where we lived in communities where our main source of satisfaction and pleasure and happiness
Hmm.
was our communities,
Right.
and we just stayed. So kind of like, and we tended to follow, like today, we rise with an alarm clock, and every single aspect of our life is dictated by a schedule,
Yeah.
by a timetable, by reminders, by urgent emails that we may have forgotten to answer, things like that. Whereas back in the day, we could rise with the sun, for example. And not that saying that that life was perfect. Of course, every period has its own limitations.
That's right.
But yeah, so it seems to me that we need to go back to that kind of living where we're more in tune with nature. We're not always like hustle culture, I think, is bullshit.
Exactly. And like, I think now people have started seeing the effects of hustle culture. Of course, we talk about issues regarding health or issues regarding not just physical health, but also mental health. You see a lot of people being anxious, depressed, and lonely. So I think we have really covered that topic a lot in our previous videos. If you haven't, you should go and watch our most immediate previous video, because we have talked about this to a great extent. But somewhere being on an alarm clock or somewhere just always being on the run has cost us a lot. And in terms of both like physical health, mental health, and overall, it's bad for your general life. It impairs your relationships, it impairs your friendships. And here, I think in this video, I want to share my experience with slow living. Currently, I'm practicing a bit of slow living, and I was one of you guys who are watching this video, or maybe you, Sharang. And I used to, always be like on the run, or, here and there, I used to do that. But currently, I am taking life one day at a time. I literally don't, think about what I am going to do a lot or I'm going to, achieve. I'm always that, okay, this is me in this present moment. And I need to just think about the next 1 hour, not maybe the next day or 1 week ahead, or not even 10 years ahead. Okay, what am I going to do, this and that? Not that it's wrong to plan, because when you're speaking about things like investments, or if you're securing a future for yourself, of course you should think about all these things. But there is a difference if you let these things consume your life versus you actually living your life. If Do you have anything to add?
No, I think yeah, you are definitely true. I
Right.
think you correct. I mean, so like what the Bhagavad Gita talks about, like the ideal man, and that ideal man is supposed to be like sukha dukkha samabhav.
Hmm.
That is like no matter if you're in sadness or like whatever. And the Bhagavad Gita also talks about that the ideal man is that person who is able to find contentment in himself.
Right.
And I think this culture sort of what it pushes is anathema. It is mostly like there's a reason, right, that this culture is like this current generation, Gen Z, whatever we are, Gen Alpha, we are the most anxious generation, the most depressed,
Yeah.
most miserable, and we have the worst economic outlook. Because the truth of the matter is, bad economy is pushing people into more hardship. It is pushing people into wage slavery, into giving more and more of their time, and it's leaving them with nothing at the end of the day. And that economic desperation, I think, is also pushing people to these crazy ideas like gambling or taking loans or starting businesses, just anything to get out of the grinding poverty that they find themselves in. So I think that's what that is. And like, I think embracing, because not everyone can succeed at a business, right? So because not everyone is meant for that temperamentally, and not everyone has those skills, not everyone is going to be a millionaire and a CEO. That's just ridiculous.
Right.
And pushing everyone to that is also stupid, in my opinion. Or it's convenient to those people, because then they can just be like, hustle, bro, and then they can have some stupid YouTube channel or have some self-improvement courses or whatever, and just teach people or have master classes. That becomes their business, selling false dreams to people who are economically desperate. But minimalism, slow living, living within your means, and living a very normal, simple life, cutting down as many expenses as you can also really help you. Because in today's world, like, luxury or materialistic ideas of luxury are constantly bombarded onto you: bigger TV, bigger house, fancier car, fancier backpack, whatever, fancy watches, etc. And all of that is in some sense bullshit. So abandoning all of that and living in harmony within oneself and within your community will endow people with a bigger sense of meaning and deep happiness, rather than materialistic pursuits, in my humble opinion.
Very much so. And I really agree with this, because I personally feel all these channels that you mentioned about, these hustle channels, and people may think my opinion is controversial, but I
You don't care.
Exactly.
Who does that sound like?
I am turning into another version of my dear husband here, which is good, because I've heard that marriage changes you for the better. I have that experience. Let's hope he does too. So, jokes apart, but I really feel like all these YouTube channels they promote toxicity. So, like, you might think you're going in a very good direction by, joining the 5 a.m. club, or, hustling hard, and, rest is unproductive, all of these things. Okay. Although there is a difference between rest and too much rest, I might be guilty of the latter. But
your situation is.
Yeah, my situation calls for something different. But rest is necessary. So I think the next point that I would like to make is, how do you exactly achieve slow living? Because then people might have been wondering by this point, okay, she said a bunch of things, but now is she going to give us a solution?
Is she going to get to the point?
And also,
I wonder that all the time.
Not you, guys in general. All the guys watching this are going to be like, okay, when will she stop? Seriously. But yeah, so I'll tell you guys how to do it. And this is my perspective. Of course, you can share your perspective if you have any points, but I'll go as a psychologist, especially. So, slow living and embracing it is completely in the choices that you make. So, having your breakfast, like, all of us have breakfast in the morning. We prepare it. Some of us do it in a hurry, some of us do it maybe the day before you prep for your breakfast the next day, whatever, irregardless. Take those 10-15 minutes completely to yourself. Do not think about what you're going to do in the day. Just be there. Just make sure you know what you're eating, you know what it's giving you, how it's fulfilling you. That would be an example for breakfast. Have every meal very mindfully. So, mindfulness is a concept we use frequently in psychology. It's being in the present moment. So, if you are in the present moment, your body responds to you in the same way. Otherwise, there's a very nice quote that your body gets hampered by two things: one, staying in the past, and two, worrying about the future. But we really forget to stay in the present. And I think that is what we can do.
Right.
Make sure you keep exercise as a part of your life. And exercise, again, should not be with gadgets. You can hear something on the go, but I personally discourage against it. I know people may think or have a different opinion, but you need to really see around you. You need to make sure that you're making use of the environment. Like, how is the weather? Which tree is that? Oh, that's a cloud, and all of these things may seem very stupid, but trust me, they're not, because your brain is taking in sensory information and it is processing it to give you a better mental health experience. That is my take on it. Unfortunately, what happens is with screens and all, we are addicted or accustomed to a certain type of media, that is mindless scrolling. So it's time to, exactly, doom scrolling, just going on each and every app possible, switching between them, and you're just stuck on that the whole day, which is not what we want in slow living. Make sure while you exercise, you do this as well. And lastly, build close, good relationships with a few people. Of course, it's up to you whom you want to include in this set. If you feel like somebody does not, fit that bracket, it is okay to completely cut that person out. It's okay. Like, prioritize yourself. But this is also a part of slow living where you make conscious efforts towards your own physical and mental health. I think that is how I would define. Do you have something to add?
Yes. So
Yeah.
the thing is, we basically, like, the closest analogy to human beings is monkeys, right? So if you want to understand why you're anxious or why you're troubled, look to a monkey in a cage. And because that is what human society many times feels like, because you're a monkey, you're trained to process information and stimuli roughly at that speed, but screens are constantly bombarding it at us. And to a monkey brain, it's either a treat or a threat. So you're constantly, your and fight is activated, and no wonder we are anxious, because this modern world is in a lot of sense anathema to our animal selves, who
Yeah.
we actually are in terms of our biology, and what actually makes us happy at our biological selves. Additionally, from this world, all sense of spiritualism or spirituality has been sucked out of it. And our ancestors, all of your ancestors, all of them,
Yeah.
they believed in some kind of god, they had some kind of spiritual experiences. So to them, because they were spiritual, the earth itself, right, we say punya bhumi matru bhumi, karma bhumi deva bhumi, which means this soil on which we are standing is a soil of good karma, or it is the soil of the gods or something like this. And the sun is the giver of life, and this may be an unscientific way, quote unquote, of looking at the world.
Yeah.
But when you look at the world from this spiritual lens, it imbibes your life with deep meaning that resonates with your very soul. And the meaning of life actually comes from those things. And the whole world is shoving a message down your throat that fancier cars and gadgets will make you happy. Trust me, that happiness will come and it will go. It will just disappear. But if you are at peace within your own self, if you're at peace within your own soul, then you will find yourself detaching from the materialistic consumerism of this world, and you will find yourself becoming more deeply attached.
Correct.
And just want to have an addendum to your point, right? You said if someone's behavior is unacceptable, it's perfectly okay to cut someone from your life. That would be advice if for agreeable people, right? And as you are temperamentally a very agreeable person, so adjusting comes naturally to you.
Yeah.
For someone with like my temperament, who we are naturally disagreeable people, our default setting is more combative, more aggressive. Maybe for someone like that, the advice would be to give people slack, to give people grace, to show people compassion and mercy, and the advice you give to people should be tailored according to their personality and their temperament. So that's what I would say. So yeah, like, look at how your ancestors lived through time immemorial, and maybe they did a lot of things wrong, but they also did a lot of things correct. And the closer you are to just know that those societies flourish for thousands upon thousands of years, whereas the industrial civilization is now in a catastrophic mess just after 300 years since its inception. So that's the thing, and that's it from my end.
I have one more thing I would like to say here. So, hacking your hormones is a concept that we use in psychology. So, making sure that each hormone is secreted and addressed. Unfortunately, we just use dopamine. So, what is dopamine? It is something that gives instant gratification. So, you see a screen, you're like, oh wow, I look so good. Let me post this picture. Oh, I got like 10 likes. Wow.
That's tickle
And oh, I got 200. Wow, that's brilliant. You get that boost of dopamine, you feel happy, you go ahead. And your brain starts to rely solely on dopamine. That's why when you don't get it, you start feeling anxious and out of place. That's how our brains have started working in modern times. So in psychology, we have something called the dose model. So dose is an acronym for all the hormones that are involved. So it's dopamine, it's oxytocin, it's serotonin, and then we have endorphins.
Okay. But
So
what would be an example of endorphins?
endorphins is something that makes you happy personally.
But they're a class of hormones, right?
Yeah.
So what are those hormones, or do you not know this?
I'm not that sure
Okay.
about them because I didn't have like a background. I have a background in psychology, but this would come in,
Because I
endocrinology.
think, from to the best of my knowledge, these are the three hormones which are responsible for well-being. Dopamine for pleasure, serotonin
For
for
emotional
for
regulation
satisfaction
and
more.
satisfaction.
Yeah, so it reduces serotonin, reduces your anxiety, and
Correct.
oxytocin promotes deep bonding. So like
It's the
when
love hormone.
yeah,
In a way, yeah.
sort of, yeah. But when a couple pair bonds, for example, for long term, that has oxytocin.
Correct. So how do you get these things? So dopamine, go for natural dopamine. So, it can be something as simple as your morning cup of coffee. You're like, wow, आज मैंने क्या coffee बनाई है? That's also dopamine. Or क्या चाय बनाई है आज? Instead of going on your phone and,
Yeah.
obsessed on likes or things. Or you can just open your curtains and get sunlight. That's literally dopamine. Oxytocin, you can make sure you have a conversation with a loved one and you can make sure you're there for someone. You can return a favor or do something for someone which is selfless.
Hugging people. Like
Hugging people. So that is oxytocin. Serotonin, I would.
You get that from find pursuits which you truly find meaningful.
Correct.
And in that you'll get serotonin. So it's like, I like something, so I'm going after it. That's just dopaminergic system. However, if you find something that is deeply meaningful, like in the Bhagavad Gita, it would call आपके जीवन का पुरुषार्थ उसमें है, something like this. Key, what is it that is so amazing, that is so beautiful, even if you weren't being paid for it, you would still do it. So that would be your passions, that would be your interest. These things are things that you will find. You can't, like, they'll choose you in some sense. So things that you do and you feel like, okay, my life is fulfilled, or I did something good with my life. And unfortunately, today's jobs don't give us that. And exercise, because for a good, like, a healthy mind exists in a healthy body, and vice versa. Yes. So if you have a very bad mental health and you begin to exercise and you begin to follow good diet, your body becomes healthy, your mind will become healthier than it was. I'm not saying that depression is a cure all. Correct, can be cured by just exercising and working on. That's not what I'm saying at all. But there have been studies which have shown that exercise and good diet is better at curing depression than SSRIs. So of course, and it also helps your physical health because you lower your blood pressure, you reduce your risk of diabetes. So I mean, exercising is literally a win-win for both areas. That would be serotonin. I have a close friend who's a home baker, and sometimes she literally just bakes cakes at home, and it's not even for anyone. It's literally for her family to enjoy. I asked her, you invest so much money into the equipment and everything, then why, like, you don't get any output from it? And she just laughed. She said, the joy of making that cake, it is so therapeutic for me because it's something that she truly loves to eat. This YouTube channel, we don't, exactly. we are not earning, we are earning literally zero money. To be honest, brutally honest. Zero, right? Like we have made more than 100 videos. Yeah. But it's genuinely a pleasure to interact with people and to just put our thoughts out there. Like it's a passion that we both share, and it's something that we do together. Correct. It's a very cool activity. So I
that's
think
our serotonin, I think, in
yeah,
a way. Yeah.
no, and I think like other things as well, like pursuing, like read this cool book called Maps of Meaning by Dr. Jordan Peterson. Like there, like he elaborates a lot. But I think that's it from my end, unless you want to add, Sharvari.
No, and that's it. And endorphins. So endorphins are something that make you happy.
Yeah.
So it, I think, ties up with all of these things. So somewhere when you go put all these things together, you get a perfect equation of slow living.
Yeah.
And this is the main point of this video, is that calm down, just take it easy, calm down, chill, rest, be unproductive for a day. Nobody's gonna bash you for it. You're answerable to yourself. You know what you're doing. So take that day of vacation. Make sure you prioritize time for yourself. Prioritize self-care in the way that you like. It can be sleep, it can be a bath, it can be cooking your favorite meal. So I think in today's modern world, you were meant to see this video. This is a sign to maybe slow down if you're taking it too fast, or you're really going out there all crazy, crazy.
Yeah. So I think we should summarize what we want to say. Exactly. slow living is living which is more in tune with the way our ancestors lived, and away from this. So, like, ignore the hustle culture and grind culture, especially if it's not making you happy and satisfied,
Yeah.
and if it's just making you feel miserable and burnt out. Second point, do not succumb to society's pressure to engage in mindless consumerism and materialism. Embrace minimalism. Uh, True. Three, pursue what is truly deep, meaningful in terms of career that you find meaningful, hobbies that you're passionate about, and relationships that give you deep contentment. Fourth thing, be mindful of your surroundings, be mindful of your place in this world.
Yeah.
Don't get bombarded constantly by social media. I need this advice for my own self. I'm very much part of the problem here, hoping to be a part of the solution. Fifth thing, a healthy body exists in a healthy mind. So make sure you have a healthy hormonal profile in terms of dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, the key endorphins. Make sure you exercise right. Make sure you eat healthy food. And just know that this society, in some sense, pushes a lot of lies and scams on you. And if you look at the way the ancient people have lived through time immemorial, there's a lot of wisdom to be found in the ways of our ancestors.
For sure.
And
So that's it from our side, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope that this message reaches all of you who might be rushing through life. And a reminder to take it slow and easy. And as usual, as we say at the end of each and every video, make sure you hit the bell icon so you know when we are going to post a video. And do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you, guys, and see you.
peace.